An Auckland councillor rates Lime's performance 3 out of 10 so far, but says he'll still vote to keep them on Auckland streets. There's been more than 150 incidents involving a brake fault that sent some riders flying and caused some serious injuries. The e-scooters were taken off the streets until Lime can prove the fault's fixed and riders are safe. Auckland councillor Darby says he's received a confidential report on Lime, and councillors will get the chance to squeeze the company for more information in a closed-door meeting tomorrow.
Look, what Council is asking of Lime at the moment is to show us the fix to the problem. And that's why this independent company out of the US, but not related to Lime, is working for both the council, but being paid for by Lime, but for the council to ascertain whether the fix, the so-called firmware fix, the technology fix that Lime say has been put in place, and that it does work. That is the key question that is being asked.
Yeah, and that's really important, but isn't it also important to ascertain how honest Lime has been with you, how big the problem was and when they first knew about it?
Yep, and we're asking those questions and we're reviewing the timeline of events as well. And I think it's absolutely fair to say, and a lot of people are saying this, should Lime have notified council or should council find out through media and then take action? What do you reckon, Chris? It is more the former of the latter, so I should say, rather than the former, that is Lime advising council first. So that
but they didn't, though, Sorry, Chris, to interrupt you, but they didn't inform you, did they? Because the Mayor, Phil Goff, came on this program and said that he first heard about the fault was when it appeared in the media.
Correct. So that's what I'm saying. Just to clarify, Lime should have advised the council of an issue and any other issue in advance. We should not be relying on RNZ or other media to tell us of the problem.
So when do you think the company became first aware of the braking issue?
Look, I'm not sure that I think there were some reports in other markets, possibly in Europe, and I'm not sure of what model they're running over there. They're running a second generation e-scooter here, not the first generation.
Specifically about Auckland, though, because that's where our focus is. So
yep, absolutely.
From what you know,
I don't have.
When did the company first know about the braking issue here in New Zealand?
That is a question that has been posed to them, and it's still subject to the meetings that we're having with them, and that will be flushed out and it will be transparent in days to come, because it is a clear question that at this time is unanswered.
Okay, so more generally, let me ask you this then. In an opinion piece that was written this week by Lime's Mitchell Price, he said that Lime had known about the fault for, quote, a few weeks. I want to get your idea of what a few weeks is.
Well, a few is sort of 2 to 3, and that's far too long. We would expect to be notified of that issue almost immediately. If they can confirm they've got a problem and they haven't got an immediate fix for it, because we are the licence giver, the grantor, we would expect to be notified almost immediately.
Okay, because Checkpoint has talked to people who were catapulted off Lime scooters in October and January. That's way over a few weeks ago.
Yes, it is. And look, I understand we had some feedback from Lime that in some instances they were not aware of some, not all, but some of the brake failures. That is, those that were using the scooter might have had that incident, but they didn't communicate it back to Lime. And there is
Isn't that the core of the problem that we're just seeing here? I mean, how in control of this is the council and monitoring this?
Well, I can tell you now, Lisa, we're very much on top of it. And that's why we haven't given the go-ahead for the scooters to be back on the roads and pavements of Auckland.
But you are going to, though, aren't you? You are going to let them back on the roads and pavements.
The question for us was, is there a firmware fix in place that makes the scooters safe? And that is the anti-theft braking issues are resolved. And We will see after the face-to-face meeting tomorrow technical experts talking to other technical experts about what Exponent have confirmed and whether they do get the go-ahead or not.
So where is the accountability for the lack of reporting of the incidents to the council? The fact that it has apparently been going on for some months, not weeks. Where is the accountability around that? If you were focusing on the firmware fix and saying that if they fix the software they can go back on the streets, what about the accountability for the other issues? Lack of transparency.
Yeah, and that's the second issue and an important issue, and we are addressing that in our discussions as well. So that's with our senior management.
How will you address that?
I can assure you, and I've spoken to our Chief Operating Officer, Dean Kimpton, about this. They are asking specifically those questions and why they were not advised earlier, and we want to know specifically how, going forward, if they were to be allowed back on the streets, after tomorrow's discussions, what is Lime going to put in place that is different to ensure communication is precise? Are
you going into bat for the victims? Because some of these people are pretty smashed up.
Yeah, look, I wouldn't like to be turfed off a bike or a scooter or anything at, anything over about probably 15 kilometres an hour. And I'm reading reports of people being turfed off at, approaching 30 kilometres an hour.
One of them's got his jaw wired and is drinking through a straw.
Yeah, and that's exactly why the council has called time and asked for the scooters to be recalled back to base. They're off the streets, and we're looking to make sure that things are changed by Lime that are going to last. We don't want just a temporary change that when we find there's a glitch later on. We are doing our damnedest to make sure that safety of the user is paramount.
So in your view, what moral responsibility does Lime have to its customers who were injured as a result of a fault that they have known about for some time?
Look, I think the owner of any product or service has that moral responsibility. And look, it's going to have to be up to Lime to follow up with those individuals, and I'm sure it's starting to get information trickling into it from those individuals. And I encourage those individuals that have been turfed off by this problem to make contact with Lime and do it now.
So how can you trust this company to report problems to you immediately if they haven't already done it? If you plan to give them their licence back or the go-ahead to get back on the streets on the basis of doing a software upgrade, how are you going to make sure that they report issues in the future and they escalate them in good time?
And that, as I say, will be addressed in the discussions that we're having tomorrow. It's not just about the firmware fix. It's about the changes that we expect to take place within the organisation that is Lime. And so we want to make sure and have absolutely watertight guarantees from them that they are going to communicate with us promptly and accurately if they get the slightest hint that they might have a software or a firmware issue.
How do you think they've done so far in terms of transparency in dealing with the council?
No, they're scoring pretty low in my books, but we are addressing that.
Okay, give us a number, Chris. Give us a number. Scale of 1 to 10. 10 being outstanding conduct by Lime, and 1 being down in the dirt. How have they done? 1 to 10.
Well, it's lower than 5, unfortunately, and it's probably in the 3 range. And then counter that, I can see a wave of Aucklanders loving their Limes. So they're scoring high in that regard, but safety trumps all that amenity, and we need to address the safety.